Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to be doing a tag by the Brothers Gwynne. The original video I will be posting down in the description so you guys can go check it out. I am so freaking excited to do this tag. As soon as I saw their video, I was like, yep, this is definitely something we're doing. So this is the Warband tag, wherein I will design my own warband of motley crew characters from fantasy stories. It literally took me days. I spent days on this, you guys. Like, I could not decide for the life of me what I wanted to do with this until I had thrown in kind of a crazy anti-hero character into my warband, and my husband was like, you know, this feels more like you. So why don't you just do a whole crazy cast of warband characters that probably would never go together in real life, but you just would want to throw them in a pot and see what happens. I went a little crazy with it, and I kind of put together some of my absolute favorite anti-heroes slash villains. Without further ado, I will get to my warband so you guys can see what I came up with. It's crazy, it's wild, it's a little scary, I'm not gonna lie, but here we go. Now, one of my biggest struggles with this tag was not to fill the entire list with Malazan characters. I tried. I did my best. I'm gonna move over here so I can actually have room for the photos. The number one person in this warband was the leader, and I kind of had to sit and think about this for a minute, because I was like, when you see the rest of these characters, like, it's gonna have to be someone who's pretty BA and beastie enough that he can hold his own with this mess. So the first person that came to mind was Antimander Rake from Malazan Book of the Fallen. Antimander Rake is like one of the coolest, he's awesome. So Antimander Rake is the Lord of the Tisti Andi in the Malazan Book of the Fallen. He's the Lord of Moonspawn, which is basically this like giant floating castle, and his sword swallows people's souls. So other than that, he's alright. This guy can handle anything. He is an incredible leader, but he's also very dark and imposing, so I felt like he still fit in with this group incredibly well. Number two is my champion. Now, this is another Malazan Book of the Fallen character who, like, had to go in this list as soon as I decided to go this direction, because if we're gonna get crazy around here, we're gonna need Toblakai. Toblakai is one of the characters in Malazan Book of the Fallen that really makes you question yourself, because he is grimdark personified. Like, I don't know that it gets any more grimdark than Toblakai. Prove me wrong. When you find yourself actually kind of rooting for him in different moments throughout the series, you really go, oh my gosh, am I okay? I think there might be something wrong. Am I a danger to society? That's the kind of character Toblakai is, and I needed to put him in here as the champion. So I realized that Malazan is kind of taking over the list by this point, but I promise I'm gonna throw some other crazies in here as well. So editing Tori here, and I just wanted to pop in really quick because in case anybody was like, why the heck did you pick Toblakai as your champion? Which personally, I don't really feel like he needs an explanation, but if you still want one, he literally killed 2 Hounds of Darkness at the same time, pretty much by himself. So, that's all. Now, despite Malazan Book of the Fallen taking up the first 2 spots on my warband, number 3 is the Counsellor, and the Counsellor could be none other than Locke Lamora himself, the Lord of Thieves and Conmen, the manipulative genius that is Locke Lamora, is definitely going into my Counsellor slot, because he is going to have all the strategies and he is going to be able to foresee anything that's going to happen, but at the same time, he's not going to have a problem working with all of these very dark, twisted characters, and I really appreciate that about him. Number 4 is the Magician. This one I was really struggling with. I had several different characters that I kind of wanted to put in this slot or thought about. However, it came down to the one and only Bellatrix Lestrange. She is still one of my top 3 characters from Harry Potter. I love her. I don't know what that says about me, but I love her. She's amazing. She's nuts, and I love it. She is very unpredictable, which is something that I think fits very well in with this band. She's going to be super spontaneous, and she's going to love the atmosphere of this group, and she's just going to go with whatever they decide to do. All right, moving on to the 5th slot, which is our Swordsman. Now, this one was another one that I really struggled with because there are so many great swordsman characters in fantasy. However, at the end of the day, I had to give it to Szeth by Brandon Sanderson from the Stormlight Archive. Now, Szeth, I realize, might have a moral issue with some of the characters he's being clumped in with. However, I feel like Animander Rake has just enough hero in him and coolness that Szeth would actually respond very well to that and feel like Animander was somebody that he could get behind and follow regardless of the other people in this group. I think he would definitely spend a lot of time off by himself, but I could not think of anyone better to fill this role than Szeth. Now, our next spot is none other than the Axeman, and this spot has been the easiest decision since I started thinking about this warband tag, and I knew exactly who was going in that spot from the first minute I saw the tag, and that is Ganelon from Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. Ganelon. Now, Ganelon is a giant sasspot of a character. He's very quiet about it, but man, this boy has some savagery in him, and I just love his character so much. You can see him on the cover. See if my ring light. There's like giant dude in the back on the cover. That's Ganelon. He spent a whole bunch of time in cryo, basically, like frozen in time. I can't remember exactly why, but it involved somebody else's woman. So he definitely fits into this group. He's quiet enough that he's not going to cause a ton of ripples, but he's also like incredibly headstrong and stubborn. So he fits in pretty well. But I still maintain that I think that Animander could handle him. Now, the Archer, I took a little bit of artistic license because I could not for the life of me think of an archer that I have read personally. I would love to hear you guys' recommendations down in the comments below of archers that you think would fit really well into this warband. I could not come up with anybody. My brain was so stuck on Legolas from Lord of the Rings, and I was like, no, that's definitely not happening. So I finally decided to go a bit more modern horror fantasy character because honestly, I've never in my life met a fictional archer that I liked better than Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. This is a TV series, I realize this. However, it's Daryl Dixon. If you want to argue with me, you can. But, I mean, he pretends not to like other people. He pretends to be a loner, which he kind of is. However, he definitely appreciates being part of a good team, and I feel like even though he might have a hard time kind of getting into this group in the first place, I feel like he would kind of fall in and maybe be just enough of the heart that this group would need, which was kind of my point with Szeth as well. I felt like there needed to be a couple characters in this warband that would keep them from totally raising the village. Number 8 is the Animal Companion. Now, this is another one that I took a little creative license with because I realized that this is also probably not what everybody would think of to put here. I did think about Ghost from Game of Thrones because he is a giant, massive dire wolf, and like if you don't like my actual choice, you can just insert Ghost as a substitute. However, there is a creature character that I love possibly above most other fantasy world stories, fantasy sci-fi, and that is the T-Rex from Jurassic World. Because if you have a group with Toblakai and Bellatrix Lestrange and Animander Rake and Locke Lamora, why not throw in Mama T-Rex from the Jurassic series? My husband and I have been watching the Jurassic movies lately, and I had never seen them as a kid. I'm telling you, the real MVP of this series is the T-Rex. I could go into maybe I will do an entire review of those movies and just talk about how awesome she is. She's smart. She could figure out what's going on, and I think if she liked these guys enough, she would totally fight with them. And last but not least, this is my Wildcard spot in my warband. Now, when I first commented under the original Brothers Gwynne tag for this, I suggested that it would be kind of fun to add an assassin category to this warband. I'm kind of doing both in one here because my Wildcard character easily could be an assassin character as well, and that is one of my favorite fantasy characters of all time, Sevro from the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. Sevro is a very awkward, lacking social skills kid when we first meet him, with a very bitter chip on his shoulder, but a deep desire to kind of be like connected to somebody that he can be really close to and fight for. And that is something where I feel like if we could get Sevro's loyalty attached to any of the characters in this band, whether it's Locke or Animander Rake, I think Sevro would be a fantastic anti-hero addition to this warband. So there you have it. That is my warband. I pity whatever world they get thrown into, because that would be a hot mess. But I had so much fun putting this list together, and now I kind of want to see a fan fiction of it. I'm not gonna lie, it would be a little intense, and you could easily have like a world-ending fantasy series out of this group alone. But I had a lot of fun doing that. A big thanks to the Brothers Gwynne for designing this tag. It was super fun, and I would love to see all of you guys' answers in the comments below. Let me know who would be in your warband, and I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.